Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo from Concept. So today we are going to create this birthday design in Adobe Photoshop. Let's get started. Welcome to Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up our application. For this tutorial, as always, I'm using Adobe Photoshop, and I'll go ahead and create a new document. I'm going to set the width and height to 2000 by 2000 with a resolution of 300, and I'll just click on create. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've come to notice that most often than not, if you use purple and blue, those colors match very well, and especially if you add yellow, a little bit touch of yellow and white to it, it also looks quite nice. So I'll just select the foreground and background colors. I'll make one purple, and I'll select the other one and make it a bit bluish towards the side, and click on OK. So what I'm going to do is I'll go into the adjustment panel, which should be the center icon over here at the bottom, and I'll select gradient. Now I'm going to leave the style to linear, and I'll click on this transparent gradient we have in here. If you are using an older version of Photoshop, you don't have to go through this. I think the first one, which is the foreground to background color, should work just fine. So I'll click on basics and select the first one, which is foreground to background color, and click on OK. Then I think I'll go ahead and play around with the orientation. I think I'll like the darker blue to come in somewhere around here, and click on OK. So I think this is looking quite nice. So first of all, let's add in a circle. So I'll click and drag over here, and as you can see, the circle is a little bit deformed. We have an ellipse, but we don't want an ellipse, so I'll hold down the shift key so that I get a perfect circle like so. So something like this, about this big, should be just fine. And I'll place it at the center, but as of now I don't even know the center, so what I'll do is I'll hold down the control key and press R. That should bring up the rulers up here and on the left hand side as well. So I'll just click and drag from the left, and it should snap in at the center like so. Click and drag from the top, and it should snap in like so. Alright, now this is my center, so I'll place this over here, and I know that it is aligned perfectly. I'll go ahead and hide the rulers for now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this this ellipse or circle we have here white. Since it is a shape, I can just double click on the thumbnail and select white from here. If you don't want to go through that, you can also just go into your properties where we have the fill color and select white. Either one should work, or you can press U to go back to the shapes, then select the fill color here. So any of them should work just fine. Now as at now, I don't know which picture to use, so you know what, let's just grab this picture from here. I think this one looks nice, so I'll go with this. Let's see if I can just open it up in Photoshop, and I'm going to cut this out and put it on top of the ellipse I have here. So I'll just use control. You can use any of the selection tool to do that actually. So I can use the rectangular marquee tool. I have a selection like this is the part I need. Then if I have that selection, I can just right click, go to layer via copy or layer via cut, whichever works for you, and I'll use the move tool to move it from here to here. So just click and hold, let's click and hold, drag it over to this work without releasing it, bring it over here like so before you release. Now it should be something like this. So once I have done that, now you can see that we have the ellipse here and we have the image on top. This is what we want. We don't want it in a case like this where we have the image beneath the ellipse. So we have the circle beneath, and if the image is still on top, just right click and go to create clipping mask, and it should just show where that circle is. So if I go ahead and move the circle, you can see that the image is only showing where that circle is. This is what we want. You can either do that, or you can hover between the layer the image and the circle, hover between them, so that's somewhere here, and hold down the Alt key, and you should get this cursor, which is also used for the clipping mask. So any of them should work just fine. So I'll go ahead and resize it using the move tool, resizing my image to about, I think this big should be just fine, and I'll click on OK. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a duplicate of this. You know what? Let me make both of them smaller. Again, let me place this at the center. I've forgotten where the center was. Let me bring everything back somewhere here and somewhere there. So let me place this at the center, resize something like this, and resize this as well. So I think something like this is going to work out much better. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate this. So using Ctrl J, or just click and drag onto the new layer icon, which is right here, to create a duplicate. Now obviously the clipping mask is missing, so what you can do is you can just recreate it. Right click, go to create clipping mask, and it should show again. Now I have my ellipse here, and I'm going to make it much bigger than what I have initially. So holding down the Alt key, you may also have to hold down the Shift key depending on which Photoshop version you have. I have mine set to auto select, so I have to hold down the Alt and the Shift key. I think sometimes the Control key as well. So something like this, about this big, should be just fine, and I'll just click on OK. Now this is what I want. But the thing is, I don't want to have a fill color in there. That white fill color, I don't want it. So I'll go back to my shapes tool so that I can get these options. If you don't go back to the shapes tool, you don't get these options. You may get it at the properties, but I want it at the shapes tool. Yeah. So the fill color, I'll set it to none. So you realize that it vanishes. Then for the stroke, I'll set it to a solid color. Any solid color should be fine, but I'll go with white. And you really can't see anything because it is very faint. So it's just a pixel of 1, as you can see from here. So I'll probably change it to about 10 pixels so that it becomes much thicker. Now if I go back to the shapes tool, I can also use this drop down arrow here and change it to whichever I feel comfortable with. If you are not seeing what you want over here, you can always go to the more options and change it to however you want. So you can increase the dashes, you can select a specific gap, anything you want to do, you can basically do that over there. But I feel comfortable using any of these. I'll probably just go with this one and just click on OK. But before that, I think I'll go with 5 pixel. I think 5 pixel is just fine. So this is looking quite cool already. At any point in time, if you just want to resize it, you can just use the Alt and Shift, or just the Alt key to do that. So yeah. Now I'm also going to group all of these. So I'll select the bottom one, hold down the Shift key and select the top one, and hold down Control and press G. So Control G for grouping. Either that, or just click everything and drag and drop onto the second icon from the right, which is the group icon, and it's just going to put it in a group for you. So I can now call this image something, I don't know. Now I'm going to type in my birthday text. So you know what, let me create a group and call it text so that I know all my texts are going in there. And I'll type in something like happy birthday. Now let me select a font, any bold fonts. Let's go with is it Montserrat? Yeah, Montserrat or something like that. I'll go with the bold version and I'll select white color from here. So let's make this much bigger. I think 36 should be just fine. No, let me try Woboto. Black. I think I'll just go with this. This is what I don't like about Photoshop. If you forget to click on the check mark here, it saves nothing. So I'll go back to Montserrat, I'll select the bold version select my color, which is white, and I'll click on OK. Now it is saved. So if I go ahead and resize it, I think I chose 36, so I'll place it somewhere around here. Then I have one more text, that is the God bless you. Nothing I'm typing is showing. So the God bless you text. I probably should just make these smaller. And this time around I'll be using a script font, so I think I'll go with this Amarula. I hope I got the name right, and probably use a yellow color, so I'll select a yellow color from here and click and drag it towards the side like so. Well, let me make it smaller, like 24 or 18, and place it somewhere here. I think this is looking nice. I probably should save this birthday tutorial. I'll get a better name for it later on. Don't show this again. So let's go ahead and add in something else. So I'll create another text. Let's call this name. Just name should be fine. Then I'm going to type in the name of the person celebrating the birthday. Obviously I'm not going to use her actual name. I'm thinking of something. You know what, let's go with Theolina. I hope this is not someone's name. So we went with Montserrat. I should probably get the pronunciation right at some point. So I'll just use this color I have here, and basically I can't see where the text is. It's somewhere here, but the font color is about the same, which is fine. That's what I want to use. So I'll grab the rectangle tool. I'll select a fill color, probably this yellow I have here. So it's the same yellow I have here, and I already have some rounded corners, about 20 pixels, so that's fine. And I'll create a shape like this. So I'll bring this beneath the name so that the name will show or reflect out of the shape itself. So something like this is fine. And I'll resize. You may or may not have to hold down the shift key. I think the text is too small, so let's add in Labi, because why not? So I'll do the same thing I did previously. I'll just stretch it out. If you are getting something like a uniform stretch, just hold down the shift key and it's going to fix that. And I think the 20 pixels is too small, so I'll probably make it 50 for every one of them. Yeah, I think this is looking much better. Now once I have the name and the rectangle over here, I'll select both of them. You can either select the group or select them one after the other by holding down the control key, but I prefer using the group. Then with my move tool selected, V on your keyboard, I'll hold down the control key. So the control key changes the cursor to this white cursor here, and this allows us to deform our shape or whatever shape it is. So whilst holding down the control key and holding down the shift key as well, so that it moves vertically, it doesn't go somewhere like this or like that, just vertical. I'll place it somewhere around here. Just lift it somewhere around here, something different. Now there's a reason why I don't do this before typing. I prefer typing before deforming it. It makes it a lot easier when you're aligning it later on. You can try that for yourself and you notice how easier it is. So I think I will actually make the image much bigger. Something like this should be just fine. Place it at center, have this text somewhere here, and have the name also somewhere here. If you have some social media handles, this is the part you can add them up. I think I have some, so match on social media. I have some for my merch shop, so I think I'll just grab that from in there. You can basically download anything you want on Google, so yeah, it's a lot easier to just find anything you want on Google and just download it and use it for your work. So I'll also use the yellow color. So yeah, I'm not even explaining what I'm doing. So as at now, we just have the social media icons, which is here, and I want to apply the yellow color on top of all of them. So I'll go into FX, I'll click on color overlay, so a color overlapping what I have there, and I'll select the yellow color. So from here I'll select that yellow color and click on OK. Now this works if you don't have any what is the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it works best since there's nothing inside those texts. So let me try and explain what I'm trying to say. So if I go ahead and select this, you notice that there is, it's just a selection. This part is transparent. If I go ahead and click on this part as well, you can see that it's just selecting only this area. The rest are transparent. There's nothing in there. The Twitter also works like that. But if you had a fill color in there, it's not going to work. It's actually going to give you something quite different, which you may not be interested in that. So I think I'll also change the orientation of this. This is what I was talking about initially. If I had everything set before adjusting it, it's going to be a lot easier because this can move slightly away from what I want to do. So basically at this point I just have to gauge with my eyes and see if everything is working fine, or just leave it like that. Any of them should work just fine for you. Like I keep saying, if this was an actual work for a client, I would have taken a lot of time designing something like this, but this is a tutorial. I shouldn't keep it too long and waste your time on YouTube. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it here for now. If there's any other question you have, just let them flow in the comment section below, and I'll be able to answer all of them in the comment section or in an upcoming video. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch more of our videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Concept, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.